A leaked recording between two senior US diplomats has rather starkly exposed differences with the European Union on how to handle the crisis in Ukraine. In it, the EU is insulted and derided. For weeks, protesters have been complaining about the Ukrainian government's decision to seek closer ties with Russia and not the EU. And it's being suggested that Russia is behind the leak, the authenticity of which hasn't been disputed. As Mark Mardell reports now from Washington. Well, our correspondent Beth McLeod is also in Washington for us. Maybe not that much of a surprise, the overall tone and the attitude, the frustration that you get there from the White House towards Europe on various policy matters, because obviously it's dealing with a number of different countries, things move much more slowly. It is another embarrassment, isn't it, in the sort of same league as Edward Snowden, really. Are people used to this now, seeing these revelations, or is it actually going to rebound on the people involved? Adele referring there to the Cold War. You know, America presumably could retaliate with leaking its own information on the Russians. It is clear that both the US and Russia obviously are involved in what's going on in the Ukraine. Maybe people holding back because of the start of Sochi, the Winter Games today. Hey, Beth McLeod in Washington, thank you. Well, a little later in the programme we will have a report from Kiev on what's happened to some of the protesters who have appeared to have gone missing in recent days. Now, the official opening ceremony of the Sochi Winter Olympics is just hours away, but security is still a big concern. The US government has banned all liquids from carry-on bags on non-stop flights to Russia. President Obama said Russia had an enormous stake in foiling terrorism at the Games. Big expectations, a lot riding on these Games for Russia. Now, here in the UK, more heavy rain is forecast for parts of southwest England, already struggling with weeks of flooding. Hundreds of properties are still underwater and more than 40,000 households have suffered power cuts in the last few days. Jane Francis Kelly reports. Let's have a look at some of our other top stories today. Alice is here with all the business, looking at American jobs numbers coming out today, Alice.
That's right, Geeta. Of course, after the last set of results weren't so positive, it is all eyes on the world's biggest then as well, Geeta.
Yes, see you soon. Thanks, Alice. Stay with us here on BBC World News, much more to come. Now, let's have a look at some of the UK news. This is BBC World News. I'm GEETA GURU-MURTHY. The top stories. Scripts and our pictures not quite in sync as yet this morning. But we move on to Scotland, because the debate over Scotland's independence referendum will spread to the rest of the United Kingdom today. Prime Minister David Cameron will make a direct appeal to people living in England, Wales and Northern Ireland to speak out against Scottish independence, telling them to send a message that they want Scotland to stay as part of the Union. Now let's get more on Ukraine. The BBC has learned that up to 20 opposition activists taking part in anti-government protests are still missing weeks after reports they'd disappeared. Human rights activists fear they've been taken by the security forces, although there's no confirmation. Several opposition leaders have been detained and badly beaten or tortured. One even died. The government and rebel forces in Syria appear to have reached agreement to bring relief to the old city area of Homs. Now to the Horn of Africa, in a place we don't often hear about. Our security correspondent Frank Gardner has been speaking to Djibouti's foreign minister about the issues facing this region. The Djibouti foreign minister there speaking to Frank Gardner. A Stradivarius violin stolen in the US state of Wisconsin has been found in an attic. The authorities say it is in good condition. Well, I've got the headlines coming up very soon. Alice is here with all the business, and we've also got to look at the papers in about 15 minutes. So stay with us for all that. I'm GEETA GURU-MURTHY. You're watching BBC World News.